Today I'm going to tell you a story, a sad story, so get your tissues ready. It's a true story, and you will see that it has certain things in common with a story that Jesus told in the Bible about the wise man who built his house upon the rock and the foolish man who built his house upon the sand. Now, it's often true that when we reread Bible passages we are already familiar with, that we can learn something new. And this is what I learned. The Bible mentions a wise builder and a foolish builder. I never realised that there were two categories of men. I thought that they only came in the foolish variety. So there you go. Here's my sad story. One day, many years ago, 1.5 foolish men decided to build a garden railway. They prepared the ground, but decided that it was too much time, effort and trouble to lay proper foundations for the train track. So they laid some suitable gravel and placed the train track directly onto it. They were very pleased with what they had done, and the wise woman, there's definitely only one category of women, got involved and did the finishing touches with plants and ornaments. And the man built a station building with lights. It looked great, especially at dusk with the lights twinkling, and they enjoyed some lovely times watching the train go round the track. Then, after about 2 years, things started to go pear-shaped. The tracks started to subside in places and come apart. The trains fell off or just stopped when the electrical flow was interrupted. There was also a major problem with the wrong sort of leaves on the line. Weeds managed to get through the plastic sheeting and the gravel and entangle themselves around the track. The track was occasionally weeded, but the weeds just got thicker. The station building was in a sorry state, and water managed to get in the lights. After a while, the track was reluctantly taken up, and this is how it looked for a number of years in a very sorry state. So very, very sad. You know that in the parable that Jesus told, that the foolish man built his house on the sand because he thought that it was a good idea. The wise man built a house too, but chose solid rock to build his house on. With their houses built, the 2 men went inside to enjoy them. However, there came a storm, and the house on the sand crumbled on its weak foundations, while the house on the rock stood firm. Jesus told this story to explain about the importance of listening to God's teachings and putting what you hear into practice. That means doing what God tells you to. The foolish man had ignored God's teachings, so when times of trouble came, his life crumbled, just like the train track layout and the house on the sand. The wise man, on the other hand, not only listened to God's teachings, but built his life on them, so that absolutely nothing could shake him. So, the important thing to remember is to obey God and do what it says in the Bible to do, because the Bible contains all sorts of good stuff, and it tells us how to live our lives, and it shows us that God's way is the best way. And the way to do what it says in the Bible is to read it every day, if you can. That way helps us to learn and to remember what the Bible says, so that we then know how to live and what to do when life's storms come as they will. Then we will be able to stand firm like the house built upon the rock and the train track built on proper supports. Happily, you can put the tissues away now, as this isn't the end of the train story. Many years later, the now not so foolish man decided to build a proper garden railway using proper supports, and this is the almost finished layout. The now 2 not so foolish men can enjoy the results.